Yeah, absolutely, Mxolisi. We have hit the ground running, so to speak. General uMkhonto really outlining the context under which he had made those claims in July on the 6th of that month. And in fact, we've heard even just, I suppose, some of the underpinnings of the reason why he decided to, in fact, go specifically down that route. But I just want to take a couple steps back. He's taken some time, that's the General, to really reflect for us about what has happened since then, taking a moment to thank the media for their response on that day, and also just the general public for how they have come across, or rather how they have taken in those claims that he made on the 6th of July, suggesting, of course, that the response on the whole had been largely positive. And in fact, we've seen a number of protests that have taken place since that particular bombshell briefing, with many people throwing their weight behind the General himself, suggesting, of course, that they believe what he said, despite, of course, the many naysayers who are calling for a whole lot more evidence to be put forward, including those who made counter allegations. For example, Paul O'Sullivan comes to mind. But we have taken some time really going through some of the structures of the police top management. We heard General uMkhonto speaking about how in the police force, or police service, I beg your pardon, there is a distinction actually. In the police service, the National Commissioner, of course, is the chief of police, and it is his discretion how many deputies he has. I suppose this will all make a bit more sense down the line, because we know that one of those deputies, in Shadrack Sibiya, has been implicated in those widespread allegations of corruption. In fact, since then, he's been put on a kind of special leave. In fact, it is formally known as the stay-at-home order, which he argued, of course, in court that it was tantamount to a suspension. The court didn't necessarily agree. But uMkhonto also spending some time reflecting on the National Strategy Intelligence Act. It seems this is going to be the centerpiece piece of legislation that he's going to use to kind of substantiate why he went about those allegations, and why it was problematic, at least from his vantage point, that there was this kind of political interference within the SAPS involving some of those politicians and MPs, which he says, of course, are still in active service. The SABC News Channel is watching the story from a number of vantage points. If you've just joined us, we're taking a 15-minute adjournment here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College. That's where all the action is taking place for this unprecedented Commission of Inquiry, which is led by retired Justice, I beg your pardon, uMkhonto Madlanga. He's also really taken a kind of firm approach to how proceedings will unfold, really not being bothered by the technicalities. There was a bit of a moment, for example, about how we're going to name the evidence. He's saying, that's really neither here nor there. We want to get to the substance of what is going to be said. Whilst this commission has gotten underway, not everyone, of course, is happy with the fact that the inquiry is now sitting. The MK party, we know, has headed to court to challenge even the foundations upon which this inquiry has been established. My understanding is that there's a handful of protesters associated with that organization that are gathered just outside this venue. That's where we find SABC News reporter Ofentse Setimo, who joins us now live. Ofentse, we finally gotten the commission underway, but of course, as mentioned, not everybody is pleased with the fact that we've all gathered here.
Absolutely. We were speaking to uMkhonto weSizwe Gauteng spokesperson earlier, Abel Tau, who mentioned that, this particular commission is just to whitewash all the allegations that were actually made by KZN Police Commissioner, Mr. uMkhonto. He's actually saying that a competent court would have been suitable to actually handle these allegations, and in fact, the suspended police minister should have actually been arrested, and he should have appeared before the courts of law. But we know that some of the other allegations that were made by the police commissioner were that the whole criminal justice system, including prosecutors, including magistrates, including judges, are also captured and are also part of this particular investigation that they are actually probing. But I will be joined now by Mr. Abel Tau as well, just to elaborate a bit further or reiterate on what he actually said earlier. As you can see, there is a handful of people who are outside under the banner of uMkhonto weSizwe protesting what they say is a sham of a commission. Thank you so much for your time, Happy Mr. Tau. Can you tell us about the numbers that are outside here? You were expecting about 300 people to come, and it seems, are they still coming in, or what are some of the challenges that you are having to bring some of the people here?
Look, first and foremost is that our people are still on the way. People are coming. You can see that the numbers are built up, albeit slow, but the numbers will be building up. By the end of the day, the numbers should be much, much bigger. What we are confident about is that if you see people outside here, South Africa gets to appreciate that uMkhonto weSizwe is standing up to say something is terribly wrong that is going on inside there. That criminals are on the process of being protected from facing the law, that President Ramaphosa is dispensing 147 million rand patronage to his friends. He does not want uSenzo Mchunu to face the full might of the law. He doesn't want to fire him. He will continue to stand by a decision that is irrational of bloating the cabinet further and appointing Kachalia. And us being out here, South Africa will get to know that we don't stand with that. We're not going to be silent or stay quiet, because if we do, we will be complicit to the act.
Absolutely. And without actually preempting the outcome of your court application tomorrow, can you just highlight the key points of the prayers that you've put forward before the courts? And I heard you mention the fact that you are confident that you will succeed and this commission will be halted and 147 million will not be spent.
Look, first and foremost, we believe that the decision by the president to appoint Firoz Kachalia as the acting minister is irrational, is unlawful, because frankly, you cannot bring someone outside where there is no available vacancy. Senzo Mchunu should be fired, because if he cannot be there, if he's not fit to hold office on the basis of the serious allegations that are leveled against him, then he should not be continuing to enjoy the benefits of being a minister and paid for and be driven around and be protected as such. We believe that he should be fired and be given space to defend himself in a competent court of law and prove his innocence. Now, those are some of the prayers that we'll be putting forth. But above everything, we are going to pray that this commission be interdicted and halted until these processes are expedited. And we are quite confident that the judge will rule in our favor.
Absolutely. Well, as you can hear, Ayanda, that's Mr. Abel Tau, MKP Gauteng spokesperson, reiterating what he said earlier, that the urgent court application that they have with the Pretoria High Court will rule in their favor, as they feel that they have a strong case, and they are saying that there are certain processes that were not followed appropriately, especially after Senzo Mchunu was suspended and Firoz Kachalia was appointed as the acting minister. I'd like to hand over to Ayanda. Over to you.
All right, Ofentse Setimo, thanks very much indeed. As you can see, there's plenty taking place both in and outside this venue right here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria. It's where all the action has taken place and will certainly do so over the next couple of days. Let's continue making sense of, if you like, the first leg, the first round, the first couple of minutes of this inquiry. Bring in our guest, Kulufelo Rakubu, who's a criminologist and has been watching developments for us throughout the course of the past couple of months and is with us here in our makeshift studio. We've been counting down to this moment, Prof, for quite some time. It's finally arrived. We've heard from Tantlam Kwanazi for the first time since that bombshell briefing. What are your initial impressions?
We've been waiting for long. Finally here. South Africa, I'm sure, is excited. An interesting day. What I picked up from General, he's picking up from where he left off. So the analogy or narrative is still the same. He was given an opportunity to provide background, which also assist others that missed out previously as to why we're here. And again, the commission gave us background as well, so that all to be aligned. He looked confident, if I must say. He's well spoken. But then, will all be handled accordingly, because this is the first Commission of Inquiry
Right.
of its kind.
Prof, let me interrupt you there. I'm so sorry. It seems we're struggling to hear you for some kind of reason, so don't worry. We'll try to get that fixed for you in just a moment. Professor Kulufelo has been with us since the very beginning of this particular process right here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College. And this is where, of course, the Commission of Inquiry has gotten underway in earnest and, of course, is set to sit for the next couple of weeks. The commission itself is meant to bring forward some kind of report in about 3 months' time. And we've been told that even from the beginning of this inquiry that the recommendations won't necessarily be binding. There's still going to be an incredible amount of interest, though, in trying to ascertain what those recommendations can be, at the very least, in order to bring back confidence, to breathe life into the relationship that the ordinary South Africans have with the criminal justice system and with police more in particular. As I mentioned earlier, the commissioner started off by really outlining even his own career. We know he joined the SAPS back in 1993. He was part of the specialized task force at some stage. In fact, we understand and in fact know, as a matter of fact, that at one point under Jacob Zuma's administration, he was a police commissioner as well, and in an acting capacity. And in fact, Paul O'Sullivan, interestingly enough, in his own counter accusations against General uMkhonto, has taken us back to that moment where he suggested there was some kind of criminality between him and, in fact, the now National Police Commissioner in Fani Masimula. So we'll see how all of that unfolds. I imagine Paul O'Sullivan will also have to appear at this particular commission at some stage to also add substance to his own claims that he's made on multiple platforms. Mkolisi, let me hand things back to you just for now while we iron out some of the gremlins with our audio connection. But of course, we'll be standing by in just a moment to continue contextualizing for you what this moment means, considering what's at stake.
Ayanda Nyati watching developments there for us with, of course, just a moment ago, we also heard from Ofentse Setimo out there getting reaction from the MK party just outside of the commission venue out there in Tshwane. In the meantime, thanks very much for that, gentlemen.